Hi, I'm Muhammed Hamdan and this is Nightline. The headlines. Endemic phase. Government announces relaxation of COVID-19 control and prevention measures. And Nagaenthrans execution. Wisma Putra does its best in negotiating with Singapore. Good morning. Effective May 1st, the wearing of face masks in outdoor settings and open areas will no longer be compulsory but optional. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, however, said the wearing of face masks will remain compulsory in indoor settings such as in shopping malls and in public transport, including e-hailing vehicles.
Walau bagaimanapun, pelitup muka boleh ditanggalkan dalam keadaan di dalam bangunan indoor semasa melakukan senaman berat di dalam bangunan ataupun sekiranya berseorangan di dalam suatu ruang ataupun ketika makan dan minum ataupun ketika sedang berucap ataupun ketika membuat persembahan.
Khairi said this on Wednesday when announcing the relaxation of the preventive and control measures of COVID-19 in line with the transition to the endemic phase in Malaysia. He added his ministry still encourage the wearing of face masks in outdoor settings to be practiced, especially in crowded areas such as Ramadan Bazaar, night markets and stadiums, as it can reduce the risk of infection and protect oneself and others, especially those in the high-risk group such as the senior citizens, children and immunocompromised individuals. Those who fail to comply with the regulation may face action under the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act. Khairi also said standard operating procedure on physical distancing among individuals and groups was unnecessary now, as all activities have been allowed at full capacity. However, physical distancing was encouraged in the settings where everyone is not wearing face masks. In a related development, Khairi also announced that the scanning of the QR code using the MySejahtera application to check in at premises is no longer mandatory with effect from May 1st. The Health Minister said individuals were allowed to enter any premises regardless of their vaccination status. However, he advised the public to activate their MySJ Trace function on the MySejahtera app for contact detection.
Jadi MySejahtera masih lagi penting untuk kita kekalkan. Pihak pengurusan premis boleh menyemak status risiko individu dalam aplikasi MySejahtera yang akan masuk premisnya.
Khairi added individuals with high-risk status on the MySejahtera application, which is a positive case of COVID-19, and those placed under Home Surveillance Order HSO are prevented from entering any premises. These includes travellers without complete vaccinations who just arrived in Malaysia. Khairi also said proactive measures are being taken to prevent the public, especially those at high risk and with comorbidities, from visiting areas with high risk of infectious disease transmission. Due to this, the hotspot tracker function on MySejahtera, previously used to track the hotspot area of COVID-19 cases, will now be changed to infectious disease tracker to show the hotspot areas of other diseases as well, such as rabies, measles and dengue. Meanwhile, Khairi also announced a list of protocols for the upcoming Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebrations, including allowing full capacity for Aidilfitri special prayers and allowing open houses to be held. He said the congregation must always put on a face mask while being in the mosque or surau and while in prayer.
Bagi aktiviti takbir raya, dibenarkan dibuat di masjid dan surau dan dibenarkan dibuat di rumah ke rumah. Tetapi perlu sentiasa memakai pelitup muka.
Khairi added the same rule also applies to other activities such as feasts after the prayer at mosques and surau, visitation of graves, as well as open house programs in indoor or outdoor settings. However, he stressed that COVID-19 positive individuals are not allowed to attend or join any of these activities, while symptomatic individuals are encouraged not to participate. He also said these protocols serve as a general guideline and they are subject to the standard operating procedures stipulated by state religious authorities. During the media conference, Khairi also revealed that beginning May 1st, travellers under 3 categories are no longer required to undergo COVID-19 tests before departing to Malaysia and upon arrival. They include fully vaccinated individuals aged 13 and above, individuals who had contracted COVID-19 within 6 to 60 days from the date of recovery before departing for Malaysia, and individuals aged 12 and below, irrespective of their vaccination status. Kerry also said that all activities under National Security Council (NSC's) negative list will be dropped starting May 15th. As of April 1st, nightclub activities were the only things on the NSC's negative list and had been so since the first movement control order was enforced in 2020. The Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, or JAKIM, has urged the public to respect the process of determining the official date of Aidilfitri. Its Director General, Dato' Hakimah Muhammad Yusof, said the process had been implemented for a long time and is the responsibility of the relevant authorities. In a statement on Wednesday, Dato' Hakimah said Malaysia uses the Ruqyah and Hisab method in determining the beginning of the Hijri month, including the starting dates of the month of Ramadan, Aidilfitri and Aidil Adha. She said this was in line with Islamic requirements and based on the methods, including scientific and astronomical calculations, that have been agreed by all states. She added that the moon sighting activity will be carried out by the State Crescent or Ruqyah Observation Committee, chaired by the State Mufti and its members, which comprise astronomers, religious scholars, skilled astronomical officers and the Malaysian Survey and Mapping Department. The announcement of the official date will then be made by the Keeper of the Ruler's Seal as the authority entrusted by the Conference of Rulers. Previously, a viral message circulating across social media had alleged that Muslims will likely celebrate Aidilfitri on May 2nd instead of May 3rd. Wisma Putra extended its condolences to the family of Nagaenthrans Damalingam, who was executed early on Wednesday at Changi Prison in Singapore. The Foreign Ministry, in a statement, said it would continue to provide appropriate consular assistance to the family of the deceased through the Malaysian High Commission in Singapore. In the statement, the ministry also said that the government has been working for a long time to help Nagaenthrans. The government, through Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob and Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Abdullah, once again sent letters to their counterparts in Singapore earlier this week in an effort to ask the country's government to consider and to commute Nagaenthrans' sentence. Besides the first letter to the Singapore government sent by the Prime Minister in November last year, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa bin Shah also sent a letter to the Singaporean President in December for the same purpose. In the meantime, the Malaysian High Commission in Singapore also exercised its due responsibility in providing consular assistance to Nagaenthrans during his detention to ensure that his welfare and rights were always protected. The statement also read that Malaysian government expressed its appreciation for the feedback provided by the Singapore government and respected the country's legal system. At the same time, it also appreciated the Singapore government's assistance that were provided during Nagaenthrans' detention and trial period. Nagaenthrans' body was brought back to his hometown in Tanjung Rambutan, Perak late Wednesday evening, and his funeral is expected to take place on Friday. The 34-year-old intellectually impaired man was sentenced to death in 2010 for trafficking 42.72 grams of heroin in 2009 into Singapore, which is known to have the strictest narcotics laws in the world. He was supposed to have been executed on November 10, 2021, but found temporary respite on November 9th after the court was told he had tested positive for COVID-19 when he appeared for a final appeal against his death sentence. In Pulau Pinang, the poor living conditions of about 50 foreign workers at 2 factories in Sungai Lokan, Butterworth were exposed during an integrated operation led by the Labour Department on Wednesday. Its Deputy Director General for Operations, Muhammad Asri Abdul Wahab, said based on checks in the state and other parts of Peninsular Malaysia, many foreign workers were still living in deplorable states, a testament that some employers did not care about the welfare of their employees. Muhammad Asri said although the Workers' Minimum Standards of Housing and Amenities Amendment Act, or Act 446, has been enforced since September 2020, some employers still continue to neglect it.
Dah hampir 2 tahun Takkan dalam tempoh 2 tahun majikan boleh menyatakan bahawa saya tak tahu wujudnya harta ni. Sebenarnya semua mereka tahu, tapi mereka tak kisah. Sebab tu saya dengan tim saya begitu agresif sekarang. Kami tidak akan berkompromi. Kami akan seret semua majikan-majikan yang degil ini, yang tidak jaga kebajikan pekerja ni, ke muka pengadilan. Satu cas bawah atau 446 dia boleh pergi sampai 50,000.
On Wednesday's integrated operation, Muhammad Asri said besides a steel factory, the enforcement team also conducted checks at a garment factory and detected various offences committed by the 2 factory employers, such as failure to apply for accommodation certification for their foreign workers. The State Labour Department is expected to open a total of 6 investigation papers against the 2 employers for the offences. Muhammad Asri also said that between February 2021 and April 25th this year, they carried out checks on some 42,572 employers involving 175,876 accommodations and had opened 1,401 investigation papers. Of the total, prosecution was carried out against 148 cases involving fines totaling over 1.05 million ringgit, as well as compounds against 968 others involving 10.81 million ringgit. The police will conduct an operation dubbed Op Lancha at several hotspots nationwide to ensure smooth traffic flow during peak travel periods. In conjunction with Aidilfitri next week, Inspector General of Police Tansri Akril Sani Abdullah Sani said all its machinery would be mobilized during the operation. Tansri Akril Sani said the Op Lancha would involve police personnel at all stations, motorcycle patrol unit, as well as beat patrol teams to reduce traffic congestion on highways, state and municipal roads. He also advised road users to always be on the alert of the latest traffic information available on the police's official social media platforms to plan their trips. The top cop also urged the public to be responsible and comply with traffic rules and regulations by not cutting the queue, misusing emergency lanes, or parking their vehicles at their whims and fancies to the extent of obstructing traffic. He added that the police also welcome public cooperation in channeling any traffic-related information with the Traffic Investigation and Enforcement Department to enable further action to be taken. More local news later in the bulletin, but first, Myanmar Suu Kyi sentenced to jail for corruption. The details when we return. Front, a court in military-rule Myanmar sentenced deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi to 5 years in jail on Wednesday after finding her guilty in the first of 11 corruption cases against her. According to a source with knowledge of the proceedings, the judge in the capital Naypyidaw handed down the verdict within moments of the court convening, said the source. The source, who declined to be identified due to the trial being held behind closed doors with information restricted, said the case centered on allegations that 76-year-old Suu Kyi accepted 11.4 kilograms of gold and cash payments totaling $600,000 from her protege turned accuser, former Yangon Chief Minister Phyo Min Thien. Suu Kyi had denied the charges and called the allegations absurd. It was not immediately clear if Aung San Suu Kyi would be transferred to a prison. The Nobel laureate, who led Myanmar for 5 years before being forced from power in a coup in early 2021, has been charged with at least 18 offences, which carry a combined maximum jail term of nearly 190 years if found guilty. Israeli air raids near Syria's capital Damascus have killed 9 combatants, including 5 Syrian soldiers, in the deadliest such raid since the start of 2022. Officials said an ammunition depot and several positions linked to Iran's military presence in Syria were among the targets on Wednesday. It was also reported that Israel carried out the air assault at dawn, targeting several positions around Damascus. Aside from the 5 Syrian soldiers, the other 4 killed were members of an Iran-backed militia. At least 8 other people were also wounded in the latest Israeli hits that targeted 5 separate sites. Israel is believed to have staged hundreds of attacks on targets in Syria over the years, but it has rarely acknowledged or discussed such operations. Over in India, a freak electrocution during a religious procession held by a temple in the southern state of Tamil Nadu has killed at least 11 people, including 2 children. According to authorities, more than a dozen people were also left injured during the incident in the district of Tanjavur after the temple chariot pulled by worshippers hit the high voltage lines. It was said that the incident occurred when a generator which was powering the chariot got stuck on a curve in the road, and while adjusting it, the top of the chariot came in contact with a high voltage wire. Police said the high voltage line along the procession route is normally turned off, but this time the supply was not cut, as the chariot was believed to be not tall enough to touch the power lines. The death toll is expected to go up as some of the injured were in critical condition. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in the meantime, said he was deeply pained by the accident and promised assistance to the families of the dead. Coming up next, Ulsan Hyundai edge Kawasaki Frontale in thriller. Johor Darul Takzim climbed to the top of Group I after a 2-0 win over Guangzhou Evergrande on Wednesday night. The 2 goals came in the 16th minute and the dying minutes of second half, both through Bergson de Silva's penalty kicks. The win saw JDT leapfrog Ulsan Hyundai to the top of the standings with 10 points. In another Group I match, K-League leaders Ulsan Hyundai FC secured the much-needed 3 points on Wednesday as they defeated J-League champions Kawasaki Frontale 3-2. Ulsan took the lead as early as in the 14th minute when Leonardo Nascimento smashed the ball home after some poor defending by Kawasaki. Ulsan then doubled their advantage 6 minutes later through Wong-Sung following a quick counter-attack led by Nascimento. Kawasaki halved the deficit in the 40th minute as Leandro Damião scored from close range just for Valery Kasashvili to restore the 2-goal lead for Ulsan 2 minutes into the second half, with again Nascimento the provider. Kawasaki grabbed another goal in the dying minute through Damião's second, but it was too late to stop Ulsan from taking the much-needed 3 points. With the win, Ulsan share the top spot with JDT with 10 points, while Kawasaki fall to the 3rd place with 8 points. Pleased to propose review of fireworks disposal after Sentul blaze. This and more from the local front when we return. Ministry, together with Kuala Lumpur City Hall DBKL, will deploy 10,000 personnel to detect hotspots that are causing the flash floods in the city on Thursday. Its Minister Datuk Sri Syahidan Kasim said this was part of its short-term measures to solve the flash flood problems in the federal capital.
Besok ialah hak wilayah pejabat dan awam. Besok wilayah di lapangan. 9,000 staf wilayah di DBKL akan berada di lapangan, dibantu oleh 1,000 orang staf daripada Putra Jaya akan berada di lapangan besok. Kan? Saya kena cari sedikit hama pun supaya kita dapat pesan bagi kilat.
Datuk Sri Syahidan said this to the media in a special press conference on the action to tackle flash floods in Kuala Lumpur on Wednesday night. He added that the Cabinet had made a decision on the matter and Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob had given the instruction to his ministry to immediately utilise DBKL's allocations to solve the flooding woes. Other short-term measures to be taken include deploying 25 flood monitoring team on site at the hotspots to clear scupper drain blockages to allow rainwater and sewage to flow, as well as placing portable water pumps to suck and channel storm waters to flood retention ponds. Police will propose to the courts for a review of the methods used to dispose combustible items that have been seized following the explosion that occurred during a fireworks disposal exercise at a police exhibit storage facility in Sentul on Tuesday. Kuala Lumpur Police Chief Dr. Azmi Abu Kasim said on Wednesday this was to ensure such incidents do not recur.
Berdasarkan kepada mungkin selepas ini laporan yang kita terima daripada pihak bomba dan juga pihak kimia, bagaimana kaedah lebih baik untuk kita melupuskan barang-barang kes berupa mercun sebegitu, sebab bilangan dia itu besar. Bilangan dia, kalau tak silap saya, 3 roro dia punya bilangan dia tu. Jadi mungkin tak sesuai dengan kaedah melupus cara itu.
He added that police had complied with the court instructions for the disposal of the seized fireworks. Earlier, Sentul District Police Chief ACP Beh Eng Lai said the disposal of the large quantities of seized fireworks was carried out according to legal and safety procedures, including crushing the contrabands with bulldozer and drenching the debris with water. Based on initial investigations, the explosion could have occurred due to the hot weather that caused the fireworks debris to be ignited. 3 men sustained light injuries, while 18 cars and 2 lorries parked at the site were destroyed in the fire. The amount of losses was still being investigated. Meanwhile, police have not found any criminal element following an investigation into a leaked audio clip linked to Wisma Putra. Dr. Azmi said the case has been handed over to the Foreign Ministry for an internal investigation.
Bila saya kata kita akan siasat aduan yang dibuat oleh pengadu ini, apa sumbernya? Untuk kita establish sama ada kesalahan jenayah ataupun lain-lain kesalahan. Sebab kita terima laporan polis, jadi kita nak kena klasifikasikan laporan itu.
Recently, a voice recording by a man purportedly sent to a woman with the title Datin regarding the Foreign Ministry had gone viral on social media. On another matter, Dr. Azmi said an investigation into the theft of a vehicle at a shopping mall in the capital last December had led to the discovery of 26 luxury cars of various brands which had been cloned in several states with an estimated value of 3 million ringgit. Following that, 9 men aged between 30 and 40 were arrested across the country. Now, Elon Musk's rocket company SpaceX has launched 4 more astronauts to orbit on Wednesday, en route to the International Space Station ISS for NASA. If all goes to plan, the 3 US astronauts and a European Space Agency crewmate from Italy will reach the space station after a 17-hour flight to begin a 6-month science mission orbiting some 420 kilometers above Earth. Let's take a look at the liftoff as we wrap up Nightline this time around. I'm Muhammed, Ahmad, Hamdan. Thank you for watching, and to our Muslim viewers, selamat berpuasa.